Today we are working on 3.3 equations with variables on both sides. Alright, this first example says the measure of an angle is 5x minus 3. Its vertical angle has a measure of 2x plus 12. Find the value of x. What's important here before we even get started is to understand what a vertical angle is. So if you guys remember, a vertical angle is angles that are on both sides. So this angle here is going to be congruent to this angle here, okay? And a vertical angle is saying 5x minus 3, that's what this angle is congruent or the same as 2x plus 12. So when we need to find y, we can set these equal to each other because they're congruent. And a vertical angle is saying that these two are congruent to each other. In other words, they're equal to each other. So we can write 5x minus 3, this degree here, equals 2x plus 12. We need to solve for x. So to do that, we are going to get your like terms on one side. So here, draw a line to the equal sign. We are going to subtract 2x from both sides. This is going to cancel out 2x minus 2x, okay, and leave you here with just your 12. And then over here, 5x minus 2 gives you your 3x. 3x minus 3 equals 12 is what you're left with. So now we still need to combine like terms. So this says subtract 3, so we are going to add 3 to both sides, which you can see in this next step in blue. They add 3 to both sides. You simplify that, because negative 3 plus 3, this cancels out and leaves you just with, which is here, 3x, and over here, 12 plus 3 gives you your 15. Now this is multiplication in between, so instead of multiplying, what's the opposite? We're going to divide. Whatever you do one side, you got to do the other. 15 divided by 3 is going to give you what x equals, and x equals 5 here. The second problem, pause the video and read it. Alright, to pull out the important information here, what do we have? Well, we know it costs 60 bucks to buy a skateboard from a friend, and then with that $60, you're also going to have to add in renting safety equipment for $1.50 per hour. So plus the safety. Now, the other option would be is if you rented everything, so that would be including the skateboard and including the safety equipment, it would only cost you $5.50 per hour. So we need to figure out at what point in time is it better to either just rent or to buy the skateboard. Like how many hours would you have to ride on your skateboard for it to balance out? So we're going to set each side equal to each other because we want to figure out when they're equal. The problem is unlike the previous one, that information was given. You need to create that in this example. So what can we do? Here they're just explaining everything out. This example, we know one option was to spend 60 bucks on the skateboard from your friend, buying that from your friend, and then adding $1.50 each hour I use it for the safety equipment. The other option was to just rent everything for $5.50, and how much that would cost you depends on how many hours. So we're going to times that per hour as well. Well, we need to solve. So to solve, we can set both equations equal to each other and then start solving. So we draw a line through the equal sign. I need to combine my h's. This says a positive 1.5h, so we're going to subtract 1.5h from this side. Whatever you do one side, you got to do the other. This is going to cancel out and leave you just with 60. And 5.5 minus 1.5 is going to give you 4. So this is multiplication in between. So what we're going to do, divide both sides by 4. Whatever you do one side, you got to do the other. And this is going to cancel and leave you just with h. So h equals 15. So this is telling us that you must use your skateboard for more than 15 hours. Why you have to use it for more than 15? So when you plug this in, 15 hours is when it's going to cost you the same amount of money to rent everything or to buy it for $1.50 plus the $1.50 safety. So at 15 hours, they're going to be equal to each other. Then that's when you're better off to have bought the skateboard after you ride it for 15 hours, because the $60, you no longer have to pay that. That's already taken care of, and it would just give you, you're making or saving money, I guess is what I should say, versus having to spend it for the board and the safety. So after 15 hours, that is when you're better off to buy the Friends board. All right, we're going to move into another example here. These examples are a little different, and you're going to see as we kind of solve things out why they are a little different. So the first thing that happens here, you can see, is they use the distribute property. They little rainbowed, big rainbowed the -2 to both terms. So -2 times 2 gives you a -4. Why? -2, this can do keep, flip, change. -2 times -2 is a +4, and we change that to addition. So now we have both sides equal. Now I need to combine like terms. So what am I going to do? I'm going to add 4y to both sides. Well, you can see here, when they added 4y to both sides here in blue, what happens next when it simplifies? Well, -4 plus a +4, that cancels and gives you 0. And on this side too, -4 plus a +4 is going to give you 0. So these are all canceled off. The only thing you're left with on this side is 4, and this side is 4. So this is kind of like one of those first times where we don't have a variable at the end. We know 4 equals 4. And what I want you to gather here, so this is kind of that new material. When a number equals a number, okay, that tells you that there is infinitely many solutions. All right, so anytime this is true, the number equals itself, that it is true, then that is an identity. Okay, so after that you know that it's an identity, then you can state that there's many solutions here. So I can plug any number I want in for y here, and you're going to find that this side of the equal sign is going to equal this side, no matter what number you plug in. So plug in 1, you're going to get 4 minus 4 is going to give you 0, and then 2 minus 2 is 0, so 0 does equal 0. So for example, if y was 1, that worked. Plug in y equals 10, so if you plug in 10, 4 minus 40 is what that would be, -36, equals, what's 2 times 10? 20. 20 minus 2, 18. 18 times a -2 is going to give you that -36. So it still equals, no matter what value you plug in here for these y's. In this example, you're always going to equal each other. So therefore, and the hint for this is there's many solutions, there's an identity, but the hint, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. Anytime you get a number equals a number, so in other words, you lose that variable, then that's how you know that it's an identity if there's many solutions. This next example is something very similar, but we're going to find something else happens at the end. I'm recording. Can you tell me to be quiet? Thank you. I have -6z plus 8 equals z plus 10. What can I do next? We need to combine our like terms. So what do? I can say, well, here's a z and here's a z term. I can combine these z terms first. That's going to leave me with a -6z plus 10 and a -6z plus 8 on this side. Still, I'm trying to combine like terms. So instead of, this is a negative, so I'm going to add a positive 6z. Whatever you do one side, you got to do the other. You can see that here. And what we're going to have is it's still going to cancel this out, just like we had talked about. So taking a look, -6z plus a positive 6z, this cancels and is going to give you 0 over here. So 8 plus 0 is just going to be 8, and the same thing's going to happen over here. I cancel, so I have 8 equals 10. Now, 8 equals 10, this is not true. This is not, unlike this one, where it did come out true, this was not true. So that means we have to state that there is no solutions for this, okay? Any number you pick for z, you can pick any number you want, and no matter what you do, when you plug it into this side of the equation, it is not going to equal the value you get when you plug in that same number for this side. Okay, so when you get a number that does not equal the same number, we know that there's no solution. And that's how you're going to label these when you're trying to solve these equations. So kind of a recap, when you have a number that equals a number, that it's true, you can write identity, many solutions. And then when you have a number that does not equal the same number, or a different number, because obviously they're not equal, then there's no solution. And that's how you'll write it. That is all for examples today.